For once, imagine about standing on an asphalt road, surrounded by faces, thoughts, expressions. Some are familiar, some are gleaming, some are mewling, some have frowns of anxiety, while some are curious, all with different personas. And when this mixing pot of vibes and thoughts hit your mind space, and you're bombarded with advices from your uncle about career choice, distant relatives complained about your lack of participation, strangers pass opinions on your individuality. Yet, you are expected to zip up. Just zip up those tangled emotions within yourself, work efficiently with no breakdowns. Isn't it suffocating to live with that uncertainty or not allowing yourself some moments to peacefully unjumble those perplexing emotions and the much more complicated reasons for those thoughts? Try answering yourself. Have you ever been asked or advised to think before you speak? Seems like a great suggestion, right? Yet, I remember that old man with curly grey hair and evident wrinkles. He was as simple as quantum physics, and he kept speaking out aloud to himself. He was the mad scientist who became a vital part of my narratives. But this character, being referred to as a psycho, a crazy man, it gave me goosebumps. Because asking myself, where are my books, to yelling at myself for not correcting a silly error was subconsciously always a part of my daily routine. So, was I not okay? Did I have a mental issue? As a teenager, I remember there was sometimes this generation gap that made me feel ununderstood. And there was no real punching bag on which I could vent out all my frustration. Then I saw adults. They were expected to grow up, take responsibilities. And they made mistakes. But people failed to accept their imperfections. They were frustrated too, so I had to do something about it. I started dancing, singing, painting, drawing, and tried to somehow use my frustration to my benefit. And I got back to normal. But all over again, that same part of me was left hurt by another comment, joke, or an argument. And sometimes I could stand up and say, you need to stop, it's bothering me. And sometimes I just could not. Because of relations, the mood of other people, and many more reasons. And that is when I tried self-talk. I sat down, peacefully reasoned out why and how things got to me. I realized if I was overreacting or if I was letting things affect me too much, while I could simply learn to ignore them. Guess what? It worked for me. I was able to understand myself better. I got to know my weaknesses and strengths, and was more capable of taking my own life decisions. I was able to decide what I could avoid from hurting me and still move on, and what I really had to talk about for once and for all. So when it worked for me, I continued it. But then I wondered, just because I talk to myself, does that mean I have a mental problem? Am I not okay? My answer was given by a research done by Dr. Jessica Nicolasi, a clinical psychologist based in New York. It said that when we talk to ourselves, we force our mind to slow down and process thoughts differently because we engage the language centers of our brain. And now, it clicks to me that I do have a solution for the complaint I made about the speed of life. So now I talk to myself, I'm in a peaceful, calm state of mind. So do I not let it out to other people? Would that be healthy? Honestly, self-talk never intended to create a wall and sideline other people from being privy to your thoughts. It is more about giving voice to your intuitions that only you feel. Guilt, panic, grief are emotions we generally want to run away from. But unfortunately, we can't control them. But what is possible is to accept them. Emotions themselves can never be harmful. But when drugs, alcohol are involved, in order to curb them, that's when the risks are high. Obviously, when you're stressed about a heavy pile of work, you regret choices. You lose someone. You need a support, a person to hold your back. But until and unless you can't sit down, talk to yourself, sort out, plan work, reflect upon mistakes, reflect upon advices, accept what was the past, and move on to find a solution. There's no mental peace and certainty. I mean, at the end of the day, you do have a safety net, but you're still mentally dependent. Nevertheless, acceptance, most importantly, brings courage, and that brings willpower. Ever seen a cancer patient lying on that dull hospital bed, suffering from the terrible pain of chemo, the sorrow of losing one's precious hair, not being able to stand up and calm their families down? That is when a survivor of cancer says, I am much stronger than this. I can tolerate this. I can fight back. I have reasons to live. This comes from a place where the patient knows that it is not going to be easy. It never was. But he or she is mentally prepared to accept the worst but still hope for the best. Moving on, I had this aspiration of becoming an actor. Though I never signed up for a drama club, but I always thought I could win the Oscar, someday at least. So in my room I stood and encouraged myself to give a mind-boggling acceptance speech. But surprisingly, I was never scared of fumbling, but was always scared of someone walking into the room and I being embarrassed. I mean, I didn't want anyone to think of me being weird. And that always made me think if I was doing something that was not right. Until I spoke to an aspiring athlete. I asked her, how do you keep running for the long meters? Is there a motivation? And she replied, of course there is. The trophy that's waiting for me. But what keeps these legs going is because I keep reminding them, I have a lot more stamina, a little more to go, and I have got this all. I realized it was the positive self-talk that kept her going and got her all that she has achieved. So, how can I be embarrassed of talking to that one constant in my life? Me. In fact, as per a research by Paloma Mari Befa of Bangur University, a positive self-directed speech can help achieve high cognitive functioning, which is needed in the acquisition of knowledge. Ever tried handling presentations? It can be nerve-wracking. But giving yourself the assurance, you know what to say, you have a lot to contribute, go ahead, do it. It can help increase self-esteem and boost confidence. Isn't it amazing that your own pep talk for yourself helps you achieve whatever you want? But it's life. It cannot be always on the high note. Let's face it. There are days when you're just too tired to motivate yourself. You're lost. When I have my low days, I start overthinking. And even then, self-talk becomes a blessing for me. Because at that time, I do not advise myself. I just tell myself, if I want, cry it out. If it's getting too much, blabber everything that's going on in me. And trust me, half of it makes no sense to other people. But for me, that is what I feel. And I need to let it out to not let emotional stress pile up for me. And when I do it, I'm relieved. Because I know that I'm not okay. I know that there is something that is bothering me for which I need a solution. So I can go out there, express it openly, rather than having to pretend to have a fake smile on, which kills me from within. This negative self-talk, where there is overthinking, to an extent, is also very natural. But the moment there are suicidal thoughts that enter, it is best to take professional help without any delays. Furthermore, I also found out that maintaining a journal was a great form of self-talk. Because when people around are busy, you of course can't be out there speaking to yourself. Does not seem like a great idea to let everyone know your personal thoughts. So maintaining a journal is helpful. But just being embarrassed for caught speaking out to yourself about your own life is being a little too harmful and too harsh on yourself. Moving ahead, I also realized that this acceptance and talking to yourself comes from being able to love oneself, being able to hear oneself out. And for this, a communication from me to me is necessary. This me to me can be literally so diverse. Apart from maintaining a journal, I stand in front of a mirror, get all dramatic, get all pepped up, enact a crazy situation I cook up in my head, try out my weirdest acting faces, and I get exclusive entertainment for 10 minutes straight. I mean, it's one life, you better spice it up, right? Self-talk also helps you sort out priorities. Because you can question yourself, what do you value more? What is more important to you? And boom, the picture is so much more clear. Oh wait, I remember this one too. This was the time when I had a lot of free time to find a matching purse for my outfit of the day. So after 15 minutes of contemplation, I narrowed my choice to two purses. A luxury handbag and a cute little handmade bag. And I chose the luxury bag. But I was not the happiest about my choice. And so I started reconsidering it. I realized, why did I take that decision? It was because I was thinking, what will people think? They might be expecting a branded luxury bag with this look. I realized I was giving the world a little too much more importance than what I should have given them. So I did the unexpected, carried the cute little handmade bag, and my day was sorted. In fact, visualizations can also help solve a situation. Because when you talk to yourself, you're in a peaceful state of mind, where you can actually visualize an entire scenario that might go on from one of your comments or opinions. So you can empathize with other people. You can look at things from a totally different perspective, look at things from a different angle, and then figure out the right tone, timing, and words to phrase an order or an opinion in. Self-talk is basically just about taking a step back, realizing, accepting, understanding, empathizing everything about you. It is about loving yourself. And to try it, try finding a philosophy of life that you wish to follow, the way you want to function. And keep reminding it to yourself whenever you feel lost. Trust me, it helps. To conclude, self-talk is totally normal. It is so okay and it is so important. It is a therapy for the mind and the heart. And it's free of cost, so better not miss on it. But the moment there's need for professional help in being able to find oneself or avoid insensitive thoughts about oneself or others, it is best to take it. Thank you.